Hello and welcome to a Talmud Israeli production. Today we'll review the highlights of this week's course of Daf Yomi study in Masechet Bava Kamma, pages 108 through 114, Kuf Chet through Kuf Yud Daled. 108. Heichan Pikdoni. Someone says to a custodian, "Where's the deposit I gave you?" Amalo Avad, and the custodian says, "Oh, it got lost." Mashbiachani. So the owner of the item says, "I make you swear that this is really true." Amar Amen. And the custodian says, "Yeah, Amen. It's true. I swear that it was lost and I didn't do anything wrong." Va'edim me'idim oto shachlo misham karen. But if witnesses come along and say, in fact, actually the custodian ate it, meaning he was a thief, and it didn't get lost, then the custodian's going to have to pay the principal. Hodamatzmo, if he admitted the truth on his own without witnesses coming forward, Misham karen v'chomesh v'asham, he's going to pay the principal a fifth surcharge and have to bring a guilt offering. But in a different scenario, it's like, the outcome is otherwise. Hechan Piktoni, the guy says, "Where is my deposited item?" And the custodian says, "Nignav, it was stolen." Mashbiachani. And then the owner says, "I make you swear that it was stolen." V'amar Amen. And he says, "Yes, amen, it was stolen. I tell the truth, I swear." And then witnesses come forward that it was in fact the custodian himself who stole it. He has to pay kefil, double. However, if he would admit by himself, he pays the keren, the principal, the chomish, the fifth surcharge, v'asham, and the guilt offering. So the difference between the case of avad, a claim of it was lost, versus a claim of it was stolen, is that in the claim of it was lost, there's only the keren, the principal. In the case of the claim it was stolen, there's a kefil. 109. Gezel Giortma. What happens if someone stole from a female convert who has no heirs, no Jewish relatives, and we want to know what happens if the guilty party who stole would like to return the stolen item. In the case of a male ger, this goes to the Kohanim as a class. It's given to the priestly group. However, what if it's a female convert? Isha marachmana v'lo isha. Shall we say the Torah refers to an ish, a man, which excludes a woman, or maybe you're just speaking casually, but it doesn't really matter whether male or female. That even a female convert would have the same law as a male. So ish ainli ella ish isha minayin. How do I know to include a woman? Kishvamar mushavare kan. So the Gemara concludes, yes, in fact, the law of the female gioret, female convert, is the same as the male convert with regard to the return of property to kohanim. Kufyud 110. Hayamalata kesef et asham. What happens if a person was bringing the money and the guilt offering to the temple to give to Kohanim and to offer the sacrifices in the case of the Gezel Hager? Umait, but then he died. HaKesef Yinatem Labanov. The money can go to his heirs. The heirs have no obligation to remit it to the Kohanim. Va'asham yirad shistayev, and the offering will have to go until it gets a blemish. V'macher nadava, and the money will then be used for discretionary sacrifices for a nadava. Not on a kesef lanshe mishmar. What happens if the thief who's returning the money gave the money to the people of the mishmar, the priestly group working in the temple that week, and then he died? So it didn't actually get into any particular Kohen's hands, but it's in the orbit of the Kohanim. They have the cash now. And the heirs of this guy who died cannot try to extract it from the Kohanim because it says La Kohen lo yihya. It belongs to the Kohanim. That's it. It's a done deal. 111. If someone steals and then feeds his kids or puts it in front of them, they have no obligation to repay anything. This is consistent with the general rule that the person who has a financial obligation towards the victim of the crime is the criminal himself. But subsequent parties who may have enjoyed the fruits of that theft are themselves exempt. The legal issue, the litigation, is between the victim and his victimizer, not some third party. However, if this was real property, then they would have to pay, because there's a difference drawn between real property, about which there is sort of connectivity. We can't divorce the current possessors of the property from the original possessors. That's one thing, but movable property, metalton, is quite another. 112. Amar Rav, Mekaymenes Ashtar Shelo Bifnei Baldin. We're able to authenticate a document in court, even in the absence of the opposing litigant. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Ein Mekaymenes Ashtar Shelo Bifnei Baldin. Whereas Rabbi Yochanan says, no, we are not allowed to authenticate a document in the courtroom in the absence of the opposing litigant. Of course, Rabbi Yochanan's perspective is a little bit understandable in the sense that what if the opposing litigant would offer some sort of counter arguments as to why this authentication is invalid or corrupt? A person should be able to express themselves when it's a case involving their financial fate. However, Rav's position actually also makes sense because sometimes the opposing party is nowhere to be found, and we have to pursue things independent of the Baal Din. So we have to be able to Mekayim Mishtar, even if he's off in China somewhere. 113. Ein portin lo mitevas hamochsin lo mikishel gaboim. We don't make change from the collection box of the tax collector, or for that matter, from the wallet, the purse of the gabai. Why? Because these monies are assumed to be ill-gotten monies, that people who are oppressors in the name of the government or whomever are grabbing tax revenue without real authorization. And so this cash is effectively stolen cash. And you shouldn't be making petty change to break a 20, break a 10, and get some coins or smaller bills from stolen monies. And we don't take charity from them. Why? Because we don't want to give the impression that it's okay to steal and then give money to charity. That's not kosher. That's not kosher at all. However, you can take charity, or for that matter, make change from the private monies of the moches, of the tax collector, that he has in his home or that he carries in his pocket in the marketplace, because those monies are separate and apart from the box in which he collects his tax revenue. 114. Amar Ravashi. Ravashi said, "Hi Bar Yisrael dezavan le'arla ovid kochavim ametzu de Bar Yisrael chavrei mishamtinan lei." If a Jew sells property to a non-Jew, to an idolater that abuts the property of a fellow Jew, we put the fellow in chayrim. We excommunicate him. There's social ostracism of the Jew who did the sale. So my time, or why? What's so terrible? So obviously, well, because this idolater may be a bad actor and may do harm to his Jewish neighbors. So you're introducing a danger into the neighborhood. So the excommunication will last until such time as the seller takes upon himself responsibility for any damage that might be done by the dangerous idolater to the fellow Jew's property. This is not to say that every idolater was a danger. No, there were plenty of times where Jews and Gentiles had good relations, but we're talking about a situation where this character was a nefarious character and the Jew who sold the land had done really a bad thing. Everyone have a great week.